teaching students for more than 3 years at this point, and also listening to a lot of veteran English teachers. For example, Stephen Krashen, that guy has done for this language learning thing more than anybody else alive on this planet. Stephen Krashen is the GOAT. Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So we could spend the first 5 minutes discussing where I was all these days and why weren't I able to make a video. Sounds fair to me, but it's no use because I've already promised myself that I'm going to pay regular visits to your homepage and that I'm going to do whatever it takes to stay regular on this channel. Without passing time, we're going to directly get into the subject matter of this video. So when I was thinking of making this video after some time, I thought it has to be power-packed. So I basically decided to do it the easy way. I chose the topic that I get asked about the most, and guess what it is? Vocabulary. Of course it is vocabulary. So many of you know that I'm an English teacher and that I've been doing it for quite some time. So I get asked a lot of questions on how we can improve our vocabulary, or how my other students have been able to do it, or how I have expanded my vocabulary. I have different methods of answering this question, but I thought I'm gonna make a video where I give you some productive information which is useful for students of all levels, basically from the beginner to the advanced level. So here I am with 5 surefire ways of learning vocabulary in 2025. Well, you need to know something about vocabulary. See, if you do not have a good vocabulary, your listening and your speaking plus your reading experience is not going to be all that great. I hope it goes without saying. So having a big vocabulary is kind of as important as having the bricks and mortar for a building, because vocabulary is actually the brick part of the building, and grammar is said to be the cement. So we are going to work on the brick and mortar part. I'm going to get into the 5 methods that I have decided to talk about, and I'm going to basically speak in plain words this point on. My first tip is to name stuff. The classic, nothing new, but I'm going to tell you how to do it. Naming everything around you. Whenever you enter an environment, a room for example, you should be able to name everything that you lay your eyes on. Literally go like this, from this corner, take a good look, from this corner to that end. And you have to be able to name everything that you see. Now, many people can argue that there's just basic stuff around me. How is that going to help me learn English? I mean, yeah, and this is what my 8th grade English teacher used to say, is that in English, the most basic stuff is the most difficult. And I think she's right. The other day, I asked one of my Polish students to tell me what the water part of the curd is called. So we have the semi-solid part, which is creamy, and then we have the curd in the water. And then we have the water in the curd, yeah? And so my student was kind of very confused, and she said, I don't even know what it is in Polish. And I thought to myself, I don't know what it is in Hindi. We say it is pani, it's like dahi ka pani, right? That's what we say. But in English, it has a name, way, and it is a very common thing that we see almost each day during certain seasons, but we do not know what it is. If you know that kind of vocabulary, your speaking experience plus your reading and your listening experience is going to be so much smoother. I cannot even explain here. So one more time, you should be able to name everything from the chair in front of you to the wall hanging at the corner of the room, the ceiling, the upholstery. Don't leave anything. And this is basically going to be like the fundamental step to be able to think in English, because if you're trying to learn a language, you have to be able to think in that language more often than not. That's my tip number 1. Tip number 2 is listening, of course. With listening, there are multiple benefits. I'm not going to delve into the multitude of benefits that you extract from listening, but I'm going to go over it lightly maybe. See, it's going to help you with your pronunciation and also with your intonation and accent reduction. Even though I recommend that you talk to a professional for accent reduction reasons, because everybody has a different kind of accent. And if you speak with a thick accent, a teacher will be able to judge it better and give you valuable advice. But then if you're not looking for any kind of professional help and you want to do it all by yourself, then listening is your buddy. Start listening to English, and I'm going to tell you something about myself. I've been listening continuously for over 5 years at this point, and I love it. I swear by it. I think I'm a fan of listening. Now, what you have to do is combine it with something else. Habit stacking is one of the most important points of this video. Habit stacking is absolutely ridiculously important for you to keep your listening game on. So how it's done is like, if you read the book Atomic Habits, the writer James Clear delves into it very vividly. But then if you don't have the time for that, I'm going to do the explaining. So it's very simple, basically. So stacking is piling one thing on top of the other, and then you make a mountain. Yeah. So when you're doing something that you don't have to do very intelligently. So my classic example is when you're making your bed. All my regular students are going to be like, we've heard it so many times that we are bored at this point. You know it. You know it. I'm talking about the same example. So the example is, when you're making your bed, you wake up in the morning and you have to make your bed. So you don't have to make your bed very intelligently again, yeah? So you can just plug your ears and get some listening in. Get some listening in. That is going to be your time for listening. And also, if you set a routine for doing something, it's easier to do it that way. And we're going to keep that routine part, like this point is going to be recurring in my further comments in this video. That way you'll be able to get some listening done. So what is the best interval? I think 10 to 15 minutes. I mean, I do it for almost 30 to 40 minutes every single day, and it's been 5 years at this point. But 10 to 15 minutes is a good starting point. Doing it for 2 to 3 minutes might not show any results, or the results might only last 2 or 3 days, like 2 or 3 minutes. Don't do that, okay? Number 3 is getting some reading in. Of course, reading is a very important part of speaking good English, but many people consider themselves not readers, yeah? I've talked about this in my videos previously, that I didn't think I was a big reader myself, but then I realized that there are styles of reading, and then there's this big importance that comes with reading attached to it. There are several reasons why you should start reading, but I'll tell you exactly how to do it and what to read. I suggest that you read the English newspaper on a daily basis, not a regular basis, a daily basis. Don't skip a day, yeah? I read the Indian Express myself, but I know that all the English newspapers, be it Indian or American, have really good vocabulary that you can pick. So what you have to do is read the newspaper every single day, preferably in the morning before you go to work or school, because that way you'll be able to use the vocabulary that you learn early morning. Yeah, you can have some practice the same day, and if you're able to use these words the same day, it sticks better, it sticks longer. All right, so that's the logic out here. Now, what happens is, like, if you pay for a monthly subscription for your newspaper, every day when a newspaper arrives, your parents or one of your family members is going to remind you the newspaper is here. Yeah, so it kind of is like a reminder. It's like, come on, you're paying for the newspaper, come and read it. This is what happens. So you feel like a psychological pressure to be making up for the money that you're spending on the monthly subscription, because as opposed to that, when you buy a book and you make a one-time payment, the book is like ignored many a time, and you can just like keep it on your shelf, and it can stay there for years before you realize that, oh my God, I need to break even. So newspaper is a good deal, can get you a good deal of vocabulary. It is one of the best ways you can improve your vocabulary through reading. It has several sections. It has several sections based on the different things that are happening in the world, and also its readers' interests. So if you're somebody who belongs to the background of sports, for example, or economics or politics, or you're just generally interested in learning about other people's ideas, it is very good. take a read. And I also like to read magazines where where two people discuss a book. This is like my latest fascinations, and I also get some listening done on this one. So what I do is whenever I read a book, I like to know what other good readers or thinkers have to say about the book. I form an opinion, and if it is not a particularly positive opinion, I'd really like to know what other people are saying about it. So I try to find an interview. It could be a magazine interview or a podcast, whatever it is, in written or spoken form. I get it, and I just like read through it. It's the latest interest of mine. The final point is coming right from the core of my heart and from my experience. You're not going to find it anywhere else. This is my personal research, which is to find somebody you'd like to model yourself after. Having a role model and having like a fixed North Star is very important for all of us. And if you're looking to become a good public speaker or maybe start your own YouTube and you have to work on your speaking, you have to have a role model. Now, how do you have a role model and how does it work? First off, the role model is basically someone who appeals to you, who you find attractive for different reasons, could be speaking in this case, and you have to feel you want to become like them. You'd really like to emulate their style of speaking or emulate their success. For many people in India and across the world, Shashi Tharoor can be a role model for speaking good English, right? So if you have a role model already, start listening to their conversations more often than other conversations. So this is how we're going to do it. So you divvy up your time in 50% into 50% sets, yeah? And the first 50% of the times that you listen or read or you do whatever in English, try to involve that role model person of yours and fill in the time. I preferably would say that you start listening to that person if that's available on YouTube or anywhere else or Spotify or stuff like that. And that is going to help you become like them. But that process works kind of slow, not very slow, but like relatively slow. So you have to give it time. And that is why I'm saying, so if you're listening for 15 minutes every day, listen to 8 minutes to the role model that you have. And if you have their video, for example, Shashi Tharoor's your role model, listen to Shashi Tharoor's videos for the first 8 minutes, and for the final 7-8 minutes you can listen to something new, like, keep the range high. It could be something related to self-help, coding, book creation, home decoration. And like I'm saying, you have to have a variety of topics that you listen to. That's also important. But then you have to constantly listen to somebody who you'd like to speak like, and that is going to help you become like them. Now, I've had this weird life opportunity myself where when I was a preteen, I became friends with some Americans and I'd speak with them on a regular basis. And that has helped me so much grow as an English speaker, and that has also taught me the importance of speaking with a neutral accent. But at that time, they were my role model. After some time, I realized that, okay, they speak very impressively and I would like to speak like them. And what does it take me doing? It takes me doing a lot of things on a regular basis though. Now, I wanted to become like them. So any random American speaking good English was my role model at that point. Now that has changed, but this is how you evolve. You have to have a North Star. Find your North Star, and if you already have them, give them more time. And you'll see that you'll gradually start speaking like them. It works with everybody. For some people, the process is kind of fast. For some people, it's relatively slow, but it is gonna work for you. Take my word for it. So all of the tips that I've shared in this video are literally so useful. If you do all of this on a regular basis, not even a daily basis, like on a fairly regular basis, like 5 days a week, you'd see amazing results for yourself and you will thank me after this. I've gathered all this knowledge after teaching students for more than 3 years at this point, and also listening to a lot of veteran English teachers. For example, Stephen Krashen, that guy has done for this language learning thing more than anybody else alive on this planet. Stephen Krashen is the GOAT. So I hope you found the tips on this video very useful and you are actually going to use them in your life. This was a really productive video, like I said, and no gatekeeping. I got a lot out and I'm gonna let it all out even in the other videos that are coming up in the future. Please try them out, like and subscribe to my channel. Every single person that subscribes is gives me a smile on my face. I really love all the people that are subscribed to my channel. We have a band of more than 200 people, and that is something for me. That is definitely something for me. Love you all, and I'll see you in the next one.